Here's my question for you. How free are you? I mean, really. How free are you? As a mental health therapist that's been practicing for 14 years, and before that was in the military, what I have experienced in my life and in my own life is that to answer that question will be shocking when you get the answer to it. Because most people, when they're coming into my practice, when I ask them what are they looking for? What are they aiming at? What are they trying to achieve? It's usually some form of, I want to be happy. I want to be this. I just don't want to feel what I'm feeling anymore. I don't want to keep making these mistakes anymore. Or I don't like, the story that I tell about myself, right? And essentially what they're saying is I'm not free. I'm getting drugged down the road by my emotions, by my story, by the events that are going on around me. And what they're saying is I am a slave. What I tell people is that the target of therapy is not certainty, it's not comfort, it's not happiness, it's none of those things. The target that you're aiming for is freedom. Freedom from the internal and external events that you find yourself in, the freedom to respond how you choose. So, the next question is how do you do that? Where do you start? What skill do you have to learn? Now, for me, the answer that I found was Stoicism. And that happened about 28 years ago. And the number one thing, the number one skill, the number one resource management tool that you can do in order to take legitimate steps towards that freedom, in my opinion, is understanding the dichotomy of control. The Stoics say that the quality of your life radically improves once you understand how to apply this resource management tool to your life. You have a clear understanding of what you can control. You apply your resources to what you actually control. Your life will improve. But that is no guarantee that you will have comfort, that you will have certainty, that you will be happy, and all of those types of things. But what it will say is that you will respond how you choose. Therefore, you will have lived a life well lived. Now, I think this is in some ways the hardest self-help stuff in the world to sell, because I'm not selling comfort and certainty. And I never will. And as a matter of fact, you wouldn't want me to in the long run. You wouldn't want me to wave that magic wand to give you all the comfort and happiness in the world once you understand how to do this. So my experience after applying this for 25 years, and to give you a little more, background and what I'm trying to advocate here. I've been teaching a group for 14 years, and I have been encouraging the people that I help in this psychoeducational group to apply this concept alone, the dichotomy of control, and hearing their experiences and how they've applied it in their life, the 28 years that I've been applying it and refining it in my life, the day in and day out of helping patients, my application during war, my application through relationship strife, my application through surviving natural disasters like the 100-year fire on Hawaii and Maui. Long experience, the philosophy of 1,000 trials, to me, this concept alone will radically improve your life, in my opinion. I'm not going to say it's the only path up the mountain. It is a path, but in my opinion, it is a key one. So the next question becomes, what do we actually control? What we actually control is 4 things. The first one is, and before I get started, my example and my take on what we can actually control is going to be a little bit different than what you hear standard Stoics say. I'm coming at it through my argument is through long experience, filtered and refined through science, what modern science has to say, what my experience has to say, what the ancient Stoics had to say, what modern Stoics have to say. This is my experience of 14 years of teaching this class and 28 years of doing it. These are the 4 things that I think that we actually control as human beings. I put them in 4 broad categories to be easier to remember. It helps build the skill set to apply, which is way more what I'm concerned about. And here it goes. Here's the 4 things that I argue that human beings actually control. Now, in the future, I'm sure I'll massage it. I've massaged this, every few years as I've been learning it. But here's how I see it as of now. What we can actually control is focus. Focus, in my opinion, is the foundational thing in the dichotomy of control to understand. The quality of our lives is directly in proportion to how we bring awareness and attention into the present moment. The next thing that we can control is assent. The Stoics argue that we must ascend certain things. In order to do that, and we do have control over this ascent, we ascend over, how can I explain it? Ascent is not a common word that people use, especially, when it comes to thriving, in the human condition. What ascent is what I'm basically arguing with ascent is it's the filter. It evaluates what is worth accepting and rejecting. The mental events that are arising in your head, you have to be able to ascend above those emotions, above that narrative, above the beliefs and value judgments and expectations about what your body is demanding, all of these different things, because any one of those things can prevent you from being free. You have to be able to ascend it. Assent is the filter that says this is worth accepting and that is not. You reject, I ascend and reject this feeling, belief, etc., etc., etc. The next skill that we can really, really, really control is align. Align is what is our compass. It ensures that our actions stay true to our values. That is what we can actually control. We can control how we align our actions. It's one of the few things that we can control. But it's actually one of the most important things. Finally, the last thing that I argue that a human being can actually control is choose. Choosing the action that we want, a response that we want to any given situation, internal or external, is vital. And it is one of the few things in this very small circle of things that we can control that we actually do. I think that any philosophy that does not put in its credo, so to speak, that right action isn't at the top of the list, I don't think that the philosophy is worth shit. It's the decision to move forward the way you choose. Okay. So let me break it down a little bit more. Focus is the foundation because it's the ability to direct your attention to what matters and away from distractions. It's the foundation of freedom because without focus, you waste energy chasing what does not matter or what you don't control. And when you sit and evaluate it, you will see that you expend an extraordinary amount of resources when you do not discipline your mind in the here and now on things that you do not actually control and what doesn't matter. So one of the key questions that you really filter this thing that you can control, the foundational thing that you can control, focus, is what deserves my attention right now? It takes that ability to do the other things that you can control. The virtue that is aligned with this foundational skill of focus is courage. It takes courage to stay present in the moment. It takes courage to have attention in a world that is constantly pulling away. Your mind is constantly pulling you a different direction. Courage is the foundational virtue because you cannot exercise the other virtues without courage. You cannot exercise what you can control without courage and without focus. When you focus on what matters and you stop giving energy to things that you can't control, like opinions of others or hypothetical worries or anxiety or any of these types of things, your life starts improving. The quality of your life is directly in proportion to the quality of your mind. If you cannot focus, your life will be in disarray and chaos. You will get pulled down the road. It is impossible to be free. And that is always the target. The next one is assent. Assent is the ability to evaluate and accept or reject your thoughts, beliefs, emotions. And here's the crazy thing about those three things. An event happens, you have to be able to ascend some of your beliefs, value judgments, and expectations, your emotions around that, because if you can't, you're not free. But you're never responding to the event itself. You're responding through those things. And the crazy thing is that a lot of them you did not choose. It is a filter that protects your energy from being wasted, from unhelpful impressions. You must understand that objective judgment is always the target that we're aiming for. It is the foundational filter. Our mind is constantly filtering things through beliefs, many of which we didn't choose, societal thing, all kinds of different things are coming into play. But they're just impressions, they're not true. The story that is running around your head is an opinion of events. The virtue that closely aligns with assent is temperance. It takes self-discipline and self-control to resist impulsively agreeing with every thought or emotion that arises in you. I can't tell you how many times I see this in therapy every day, that people experience an emotion, they see an event, they experience the emotion, and because those two things are closely correlated, they think that their emotion is true. So that's why it's the key question. Is this thought or emotion true? Is it useful? It could be partially true. It could be 60% true. I live in a place now where gambling is very dominant. Let me tell you, there will be no one in this town that will bet their house on a 40% chance that they could lose it. Right? When you stop letting every thought control you, you free yourself from being the prisoner of your own mind, or body, or events, or your, environment. Assent is crazy important, but it is one of the few things that you can control. The next one is alignment. Alignment is your ability to ensure your actions reflect your values, your virtues, principles. It is the compass that gives your choices purpose. Many of my patients, when they come in, and in my own life, especially when you deal with really, really hard things, what usually happens is that you get dead smack into the existential wall. What does this all mean? What is my purpose? What is this all about? Why am I going through all this stuff? Alignment helps you navigate through that obstacle because it forces you to go straight into it. The key question is, does this reflect the virtues that I guide my life by? Is this who I want to be? Alignment creates freedom. When you act in alignment with your virtues, you free yourself from guilt, cognitive dissonance, regret. You face the world with integrity. You must understand that the prime mover of human behavior is uncertainty. It is the tool that gives you the ability to not only face uncertainty, but embrace it, because uncertainty was never the enemy. And what my problem with most self-help books is, what my problems with even a lot of philosophers is that they're trying to sell you certainty when it's fucking impossible. Our life is just dead ass in uncertainty. So you have to have a skill to do it. What most human beings want is to know that whenever uncertainty rises in their life, that they want to be able the person that they choose in response to that uncertainty and have the freedom to choose it. So that's why alignment is crazy important and one of the 4 things that we can control. And lastly, and before I jump onto that, the virtue that most aligns with alignment, with aligning, is justice. It ensures that your actions are fair, ethical, true to your principles, not only to yourself, but to the people that you are around. you understand how cause and effect works, that we are in this intricate three-dimensional web of every action is going to affect not only yourself, but other things. It aligns who you want to be, understanding that you control little and influence much. And lastly, I argue from my long experience applying the dichotomy of control is our ability to choose. Choose is your power to decide your actions and responses. It is how you engage with the world and exercise your agency. Now, I'm sure at some point I will talk about free will and those types of things, but deliberate action matters. It does. The key question is, what is the best action I can take right now? Who do I want to be? How am I going to influence this cause and effect chain the most effective way? The virtue that you exercise with choosing is wisdom. All of these virtues interact. All of these things that we can control interact. They influence each other. You cannot do one without some of the others. That's just how it works, and it's awesome because it can. You will start seeing how these dots connect more and more when you apply it. Wise choices free you from regret and align your actions with your goals. Every deliberate choice you make strengthens your autonomy. It casts a vote for who you are. It reminds you that while you cannot control outcomes, you always control your input. No matter what, you are this person. Usually when I talk about this, I go into a long explanation. The Romans and Greeks called her Fortuna or Fortune. You can give her whatever name that you want. Everything is in her power to take away or bless. There is nothing she can't touch. She can take away your home, your job, your health, your kids, your friends, your city, your island, your state, your nation. There's nothing she can't touch. And she can and will exercise it the way she chooses. And you better damn well understand, every time you open your eyes, she has a funny way of showing up. The only thing that she cannot take is who you are. That you have to give to her. And she will put you in all kinds of positions to where you will give it away willingly. And her favorite one is uncertainty. And she will promise you comfort, and she will promise you certainty, and she will do all kinds of things in order for you to compromise the virtues and values, to compromise your worth, to compromise who you are. She will do it. And one of the silver bullets to fight against that is to understand what you can control. You control a very small circle of things. True freedom is not about controlling everything out there. You can carpet the world or learn to wear shoes. The byproducts of understanding these four principles: focus, align, assent, choose. You become more and more free. The byproduct of it, anxiousness is just you're worried about who you are when you have to meet this uncertainty in the future. Regret just becomes a tool in order to propel your character forward. It gives you vision. What deserves my attention? What do I need to do through the virtues and values of my life? Is what I'm experiencing internally, the thoughts, the emotions, all of these things, are they true? Is it useful to think this? When I act, is this the person that I want to be when I do it? The target is freedom. And these 4 tools, focus, assent, choose, align, are how you achieve it. You master them over time. It takes long experience. You just constantly are applying, refine, apply, refine. You're going to fumble your way through it. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have triumphs. You're going to go, whoa. But what you will find over time is peace, equanimity, resilience, meaning, purpose in a very uncertain and uncontrollable world.